Narrator, VO. In June 2013, a tragedy rocked the sports world. The body of Odin Lloyd, a semi-professional football player and acquaintance of Hernandez, was found in an industrial park just a mile from Hernandez's home. Narrator, VO. Hernandez's talent couldn't be ignored. He was drafted by the New England Patriots in 2010 and quickly became one of the most dynamic tight ends in the league. But behind the scenes, trouble was brewing. Old habits and dangerous associations followed him into the pros. He was a rising star in the NFL, a young man with a future as bright as the stadium lights he played under. But beneath the fame, fortune, and athletic prowess lurked a darkness no one saw coming. This is the story of Aaron Hernandez, an American football hero, whose life spiraled into chaos, violence, and ultimately, tragedy. Montage of NFL game footage, newspaper headlines, and mugshots of Hernandez. Narrator, VO. From the field to the courtroom, from superstardom to a prison cell, what went wrong? What drove this man, adored by millions, to commit acts so shocking they left the entire sports world in disbelief? Aaron Hernandez grew up in Bristol, Connecticut. By all accounts, he was a talented and gifted athlete from a young age. But his childhood was far from picture perfect. His father, Dennis Hernandez, was both a revered figure and a tyrant in the household, strict, demanding, and, at times, abusive. You could tell Aaron had something special. His talent was off the charts, but there was always a shadow, something he carried with him, even as a teenager. Montage of Hernandez's college football highlights at the University of Florida, culminating with him being drafted by the New England Patriots. As Hernandez's star rose, so did the whispers about his off-field behavior. Rumors of violence, gangs, and volatile outbursts began to circulate, but no one could have predicted the chilling events that were about to unfold. The evidence was damning: surveillance footage, text messages, and DNA linking Hernandez to the crime. But why? What drove a multi-million-dollar athlete to commit such a heinous act? This wasn't just a crime of passion, it was calculated, premeditated. Hernandez seemed to live a double life, one as a superstar athlete and another as a man consumed by rage and violence. The trial captivated the nation. Hernandez's defense team struggled to explain away the overwhelming evidence. Despite his fame, the verdict was inevitable. In April 2015, Aaron Hernandez was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. But the story doesn't end there. After Hernandez's death by suicide in 2017, an autopsy revealed he had one of the most severe cases of chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE, ever seen in someone his age. The brain damage, likely caused by repeated head trauma from playing football, may have played a critical role in his erratic and violent behavior. Aaron Hernandez's story is one of immense talent and devastating tragedy. It forces us to confront uncomfortable questions about the pressures of professional sports, mental health, and the darker side of fame. Was Aaron Hernandez a monster or a victim of circumstances beyond his control? Aaron Hernandez's story is one of immense talent and devastating tragedy. It forces us to confront uncomfortable questions about the pressures of professional sports, mental health, and the darker side of fame. Was Aaron Hernandez a monster or a victim of circumstances beyond his control? Long before his NFL days, there were warning signs. Aaron's temper and involvement with the wrong crowd were issues even in high school, but his talent on the football field overshadowed any red flags. Coaches, teammates, and fans saw a young man destined for greatness, not one struggling with deep-rooted emotional issues. Aaron was always quick to get angry. You'd see it in practice. One moment he'd be joking around, and the next he'd flip. No one ever really talked about it. Though, when you're that good, people overlook things. But it wasn't just football keeping Aaron busy. Unbeknownst to most, he was living in two worlds, one as a high school phenom, the other entangled in street violence and dangerous friendships. Cut to a black screen with a final message, in memory of those affected by mental illness, trauma, and violence. Seek help, speak up, break the cycle. End screen, hotline numbers and mental health resources appear on screen as soft music fades out. Credits roll. with images of Hernandez's life, both the triumphs and the tragedies, scrolling slowly in the background. This expanded script provides a more in-depth exploration of Hernandez's life, the influences that led him down a dark path, and the broader societal issues at play, such as mental health, gang culture, and the long-term effects of CTE. It adds complexity and reflection to the narrative, aiming to engage viewers not just with the facts of the case, but with the emotional and psychological layers that made Aaron Hernandez's story so compelling. Cut to slow-motion footage of Hernandez during NFL games, his expression focused and intense, followed by clips of him in court looking lost and withdrawn. Photos of Hernandez with friends, displaying gang signs, fade into clips of NFL players speaking about the influence of violence in sports. The streets of Bristol were not immune to gang activity, and Aaron Hernandez became a part of it. His involvement with gangs during his teenage years laid the foundation for a double life that would follow him into adulthood. Gangs offer a sense of belonging and power, something that may have filled a void in Aaron's life after the death of his father. It's not uncommon for individuals who experience early trauma to seek out these connections. Despite his rise to fame in the NFL, Hernandez's past connections continued to haunt him, ultimately playing a role in the decisions that led to the murder of Odin Lloyd. Dennis Hernandez was not only Aaron's father but his hero. His sudden death in 2006 left Aaron devastated. Struggling with grief, anger. Dennis died. Something in Aaron changed. He lost that anchor, the one person who kept him in line. After that, he seemed lost, angry at the world. What drives a man like Aaron Hernandez to violence? Was it his upbringing, his environment, or was there something deeper, perhaps a psychological breakdown exacerbated by the pressures of fame, unresolved trauma, and CTE? Aaron exhibited many traits of someone suffering from antisocial personality disorder, possibly compounded by severe trauma. His impulsive, aggressive behavior suggests a man at war with himself, struggling to cope with emotions he didn't fully understand. The combination of a traumatic upbringing, involvement in violence at a young age, and brain damage from repeated head injuries created the perfect storm. It's not uncommon to see this level of aggression in individuals who've suffered from CTE. On April 19, 2017, Aaron Hernandez was found dead in his prison cell, the result of suicide. His death shocked the world once again, but it wasn't until after his autopsy that the full extent of his mental and physical deterioration came to light. The news of his suicide was tragic. For many, it raised questions about mental health in the world of sports. Could more have been done to help him before it was too late? Hernandez's life and death have sparked a larger conversation about the long-term effects of repeated head trauma and the toll professional sports can take on mental health. Aaron Hernandez's life is a cautionary tale, a tragic reminder that the path to success can sometimes be paved with unseen dangers. His story forces us to reckon with uncomfortable truths about mental health, trauma, and the pressures of fame. It challenges us to ask, how many more lives will be lost before we take these issues seriously? Narrator, VO. In June 2013, a tragedy rocked the sports world. The body of Odin Lloyd, a semi-professional football player and acquaintance of Hernandez, was found in an industrial park just a mile from Hernandez's home. Narrator, VO. Hernandez's talent couldn't be ignored. He was drafted by the New England Patriots in 2010 and quickly became one of the most dynamic tight ends in the league. But behind the scenes, trouble was brewing. Old habits and dangerous associations followed him into the pros. He was a rising star in the NFL, a young man with a future as bright as the stadium lights he played under. But beneath the fame, fortune, and athletic prowess lurked a darkness no one saw coming. This is the story of Aaron Hernandez, an American football hero, whose life spiraled into chaos, violence, and ultimately, tragedy. Montage of NFL game footage.